This is the story of Sam and the cat. Well, actually, Sami is more like what we call him. He's a little Indian boy who lives in a village. It's a very busy village, and there are lots of young lads there. And unfortunately, some of them tend to get into trouble and they get up to all sorts of nonsense. And then there are the ones who do really naughty things. And Sammy's mum is worried about this lad because she's frightened that he's going to get into real trouble and perhaps even end up getting locked away somewhere. So Sammy does his best to keep out of the way of these older boys who try and entice him to do things. He can get into smaller spaces, you see. He can get where they can't. And he does his absolute best to stay out of their way. But sometimes they just corner him and capture him and get him to do something that he knows he should not be doing. And it's quite sad. But one day Sammy comes across a little cat that's injured. And most people there would just have ignored this little animal and probably let it die. But Sammy's little heart couldn't let him do that. He had to help that little cat. And he took it home and he nurtured it and he looked after it. It was really black and it had the brightest green eyes you've ever seen. Well, one day, Sammy was out, and by this time the little cat had got a lot better. It was on its feet and it was walking around, and so it used to follow him everywhere he went. And on this particular day, he was cornered by some of these boys who wanted him to break into the local store because there was a gap underneath the window, just enough for him to squeeze through. He was very slightly built. And he was terrified. He thought, if my mum finds out I've done this, she'll be very upset. Just before he was about to climb in to this gap in the window, there was a growl like you've never heard the likes of before. It was terrifying. And these young lads who were bullying Sammy into doing this turned and saw a black panther. Huge black panther with the greenest eyes you have ever seen. And they fled for their lives. And Sammy was terrified. He was now stuck between the wall and the ground. But the black panther padded up to him and looked up at him. And within seconds, there was a little black kitten where there used to be a big black panther. Sammy now had the protection, all the protection he was ever going to need, because he saved that little kitten who, whenever it wanted to, could turn into a huge black panther.